What's up, guys? Welcome to another episode of The Block is Hot. Today is Saturday, which means we're going over this week's CNFT market update. And I just want to remind everyone here that this is not financial advice and to do your own research. I'm not always going to be right about these different things, so please do not blindly follow my plays. I also want to say here that I am going to do kind of like another one-take thing here today and not doing a ton of different editing and repeats with my voice. It sounds like from last week's CNFT market update video, it wasn't really that big of a deal for a lot of people, and it really saves me a lot of time, and honestly it saves my throat a lot since these are longer episodes. But yeah, without further ado, let's get into it. First things first, guys, how is the overall CNFT market looking like? And guys, it looks absolutely crazy. Now is the best time to be in CNFTs and really make a bunch of money, especially getting into these new projects that are coming out. A lot of these new mints, even mints that a month ago wouldn't have sold out, are now doing extremely well on the secondary market, and this is the time where you mint a bunch of stuff and you flip a bunch of stuff and you make money and you get in and you get out, because this is simply not sustainable in the long run. You got to think about it, guys. As long as new demand outweighs new supply, aka new projects, then those projects are going to do well and you're going to be able to make money from them. But what's going to happen, guys, is as more and more projects release, especially when they see the opportunity, especially when they see this is a good time to drop, then demand has to increase that much more. And I do think a lot of demand and money has been flowing in from Ethereum, especially from the whole Bake Nation thing that really set this off, in my opinion. But we have to be careful, guys. Eventually, we're going to get to the point where there's just not enough money to support all these new projects. When is that going to happen? I have no idea, but that's why the strategy right now is to get in, get as many as possible, and sell those things, and get out and put your money into the next one and make a bag. And that is my goal right now. You do not want to be chasing hype, by the way, guys. You do not want to be buying a lot of these projects on the secondary market and FOMOing in just because they're going crazy. I'm about to tell you guys how I made a mistake myself and how I broke my own personal rule literally yesterday, and now I'm down a bunch of money because of it. So we have to stay to our game plan and we have to stay to our strategy and what I talked about in the swing trade video if you're really trying to get in and out of these projects and make a decent amount of money. As far as the overall volume goes, guys, we have been getting 1.5, 1.6, 1.6, 2.2, 1.7, 1.9, 2, 2.9, 3 million. These are insane numbers, guys. This is actually the highest average number of volume that we've had in the history of CNFTs. And when I go to the all chart here, you can't really tell, but guys, these numbers have been very, very high, especially in the last week, especially in the last 2 weeks, and that's why my strategy changes. Right now, the most money you're gonna make is not from holding blue chips, it is going to be from getting into these different mints that have a bunch of FOMO, getting in as many as possible, and selling them and moving that money to the next thing. As far as the top 10 biggest movers of the week, guys, we have Dead Rabbit, Resurrection Society, Mad Dog Card Club, Chilled Conks, Pitches at Clay Nation, Havoc Worlds, False Idols, Invadaz, Ape Society, Boss Cat Rocket Club, and Lucky Lions. And what you'll notice here, guys, is Lucky Lions, new project, Invadaz, new project, False Idols, new project, Havoc Worlds, new project, Mad Dog Card Club, Dead Rabbit Society. Literally like 6 out of the 10 guys are all new projects. And the fact is that a lot of these projects literally released this week and are already getting nearly 1 million ADA worth of volume in their first week, which is absolutely ridiculous. And that's why I really think a lot of people from Ethereum came over and they're getting into these new projects. And that's why I think minting stuff hard right now and flipping them is the best strategy in the current market. Now, I always hold stuff long-term too, guys. Remember that. But right now, that is the main strategy I'm going with, and I'm about to cover these 10 projects. Project number 1 on our list is Dead Rabbit Resurrection Society, and I can't believe I slept on this release. I don't know what I was thinking. I really wasn't expecting it to sell out in 22 seconds and be absolutely crazy on the secondary market. But when I do look at the art does stand out. I haven't really seen too many Rabbit projects, and they are going for 340 ADA, and I believe they were only like 60 something ADA, maybe 70 ADA, something very small, guys. So this is an example of a project where I believe you could get 5 at a time. So if you could take 70 to 340 and you do that 5 times per transaction, and now all of a sudden you have 5, 10 wallets that were fast enough, like we're talking about an insane amount of money being able to flip stuff at a high scale. You just, like, once again though, guys, be a little careful. This is not going to last for long. This project though has been building a strong community, and there are countless Twitter influencers and other people that have been shouting out this project, and it could still run. However, I'm going to be on the sidelines for now because the market right now is just crazy, and getting into a lot of these new projects is a little risky, especially since the hype is most likely going to die and go into other places. Project number 2. Mad Dog Car Club. I'm actually impressed with how well these have held up price. They have been dipping a little under 300 sometimes, going to about 280, but they have been getting bought up to this 300 ADA level. Now, I'm not a crazy Mad Dog Car Club guy, but I do know that the community that they're building has actually been pretty strong, and they have been using different marketing tactics which do help floor prices. I also know that they're going to do multiple car releases in the future, so potentially that could be a catalyst event that shoots these up in price as well. I'm personally on the sidelines though, guys. I do think this project is a little bit more risky, and I'm curious to see how well they do in a longer term, let's say 2 weeks, 3 weeks, or even a month, once all these new projects come in and potentially the hype goes somewhere else. Number 3 here, Chilled Kongs. Chilled Kongs did exactly what I thought Chilled Kongs was going to do. I was telling everyone that once they announced those mushrooms, that this would go to about 1,400 ADA, 13 to 1,400 ADA, and that's exactly where we're at, guys. They made the announcement that they're going to do these shrooms, and if you own a Chilled Kong, you're actually going to get airdropped one of these shrooms for free, and then they're going to have about 5,000 for the public that anyone can buy, and there's going to be 3 different mushroom types. And what's insane is these actually went all the way to 1,700 ADA, and I believe I bought 5 of these for about 600 to 650 ADA back on the 22nd of last month. So literally in a month, guys, this was an opportunity to over double your money. And what's insane is they didn't even stop at 1,300 to 1,400. They went all the way to about 1,700 to 1,800 floor, and I was able to sell 3 of my Chilled Kongs around the 1,600 to 1,800 price, and I'm holding the other 2. Soon, oh my gosh, this is why I edit stuff out. Well, you guys are seeing the mistakes in this video. But regardless, I think as soon as the images for these trippy Kongs are released, and as we get closer to the day, and as we get that release date, these could continue going up. And I do think that there were some major sales that happened in this past week. Like, I think one of these sold for 120,000 ADA. So I think closer to that shroom drop, the hype could continue to build, and we could get all the way to that 2,000 ADA number. Who knows though, guys? I'm just holding my 2 for now. The big opportunity was last month before this was announced, and that's why I've been telling you guys in the swing trade videos, you want to get in the boring phase when you know things are coming up but before they're announced, because you know that as soon as they're announced, people that don't pay as much attention to the project are then going to see it on Twitter, and they're going to FOMO in, and then all of these people keep buying and buying and buying, and then it goes to this crazy number, right? And then what happens is people that didn't have it listed, they get home from work and they see it went from 1,000 all the way to 1,700 ADA, and now all of a sudden they list their Chilled Kongs, and the floor gets a lot harder to move. So that's why I knew I wanted to sell it before other people realized how fast the floor moved, because I knew there were going to be more people that took profit. But yeah, keep an eye on Chilled Kongs. I do think those trippy Kongs, depending on how well they look, could be a huge catalyst. The next thing here, guys, is pitches at Clay Nation. These had actually dropped all the way down to 350 ADA. And I kept thinking they were going to go lower. They still haven't released their map. They still have been delaying that. And I still think that these could potentially go lower after that. But one thing that I have noticed, guys, is that there are some major whales buying up these different pitches. This is a very unique situation as a project. You really don't see this happen too often with different projects. The amount of holders with this, the amount of buyers with this, the amount of whales with this, it's really not going down as much as other projects projects would. I haven't bought back in yet. I'm still waiting. I still think there's just so much going on in this market that potentially ADA could flow out of this and go into other stuff that are more hyped up rather than, you know, pieces of land that are more based on utility and future stuff. However, remember, we do have that clay token airdrop next month sometime, and that is going to be a catalyst. So I don't want to wait too long here, but I'm definitely still waiting for now. The next project here, Havoc Worlds. This was a sleeper project. It was only like 50 ADA, and at one point it was going for 200 ADA, and the Ape Society, their main Medici wallet, had actually bought a crap ton of them. I don't know how many they bought, but they literally bought these up, and these went on a crazy run. But guess what happens, guys? Now they have been going down because hype has been going down. We have to be careful. This is a flippers market right now. We have to adapt with the market. Now is not the time to FOMO into these different projects. Now is the time to flip them, make your bag, get out, get into the next one, make your bag, get out. And if you're interested in the project, wait 2 weeks, wait 3 weeks, wait a month, and see how they're doing once the hype dies down a little bit. Yes, you might miss out on an opportunity if they continue to run, but I'm telling you guys, it's not worth the risk in the current market situation we're in. The next project, and this is the project where I got burned on, is False Idols. These were like 69, no, they weren't 69. They were 60 ADA each, and these were actually going for over 200 ADA when they first dropped, and whoever got in during that mint that sold out very, very quickly made a decent amount of money. I basically made a mistake, guys, where after this drop, I had to go, you know, grab food with my family that was visiting, and I was like, oh my God, you know, this sold out so quick. I'm going to FOMO in. I'm going to buy a bunch of these at 200 ADA. And now I'm down a significant amount of ADA because I believe I bought like 15 of them. So I'm down over like $1,600, $1,700 by FOMOing into this project. And that's why, guys, like I was saying, you have to be very careful with this market. You don't want to buy into stuff and hope it keeps going up because there's just so many different flippers right now. I do think this art looks incredible though, and I do really like them, and I'm just going to be holding on to the ones I have. One of the reasons I had bought a decent amount is because I do think they look really cool and they look really unique, and I like the colors and I like the different accessories, and I do think in the long term this could be a project that ends up doing well, but right now just so many flippers had gotten into it, so who knows how low we're going to go. I do think that if it gets down to like 50 ADA, that would be a really great long-term buying opportunity, because I do think this is a project that could do well in the long term and that their art does stand out. Next project here, ADA Invadaz. I love ADA Invadaz. I was telling everyone to mint ADA Invadaz, even in the Discord, the community Discord, which make sure you join, guys, if you're not already in. I was telling people do not sell this. It was going for about 200. A lot of people were happy getting that double up, but I was like, guys, this is potentially going to be a future blue chip, especially after my conversation with Invada Jim, and these have gone all the way up to 700, and now they've had a pullback. I had 13 of these. I only have sold one, and I'm keeping all 12. They are going to be releasing a white paper probably in the next 2 weeks here, and I do think these could continue to run leading up to that white paper, and as more people realize the potential with this project. I like what they're doing. I like their ideas. I like their team, and I do think this has a lot of great long-term potential, and these have just been getting higher and higher. I really wish I bought more, especially since I was so confident about the project. I don't know why I didn't go super hard at 200 ADA. Next project on our list, Ape Society. This was another project that I had called out back when it was 1,600, 1,800 ADA. I actually called this out at 400 ADA literally a month ago if you've been subscribed to the channel for a while, and I said these had a ton of potential. Unfortunately, I didn't buy till 1,300. I was just going to hold my Ape Society, but then I realized like I can't be too emotional here, and when these ran up, when they announced their Metaverse cabin, guys, they went all the way to 3,000 ADA. I had called when they were at 18 to 1,700 ADA. I had called that they were going to go to 2,500 ADA. I was actually very surprised when it went all the way to 3,000 ADA. The snapshot has been taken though, and that's why we have gone from 3,000 ADA all the way back down to this 2,350 to 2,450 number. They're going to be releasing their cabins on the 26th, the 27th, and the 28th. The 28th is when it's going to be for the public, and they have a decent amount going for the public. They're 150 ADA each, but I highly recommend going for them. They are going to do very well. I am also going to be looking into buying back into the Ape Society if these can go down to 2,000 ADA, because once again, guys, I really do like this project, and I think this has the potential of being astronomically high in the future, especially over the course of the year as CNFTs get bigger and bigger, in my opinion. The next thing here, Boss Cat Rocket Club, they're going for about 1,600 ADA, and they're actually doing 9,999 Vox Cats. I think people are going to get those pretty soon, and I would definitely keep an eye on those Vox Cats. They're going to have a lot of utility in Boss Planet, and I think those could do very well. I have no idea what the price estimate for that sort of thing is. I really just have no idea, guys. I really can't help you with that. Just keep an eye on it though. Lucky Lions was another drop that was doing good that just released this week. It was getting a lot of FUD because it's very similar to a project on Ethereum, but I do think these look really good, guys, and they are having stuff further down the year, such as some sort of mutation from something at 8. I would keep an eye on this project. This is another example of a new project where I'd wait a month to see if the hype is still there and to see if the community is developing, and if it is, maybe it won't be a bad price to scoop up a couple for a long-term investment. Unwanted Ones is another project that released this week. It was doing pretty well when they first released and were going for about 100 to 120 ADA, so that was a decent flip. I actually think they do look pretty cool, and if you click on them, they have different animations that look nice. This is a decent buying opportunity, but once again, guys, I would wait just a little bit longer and see if the hype maintains with this project, just since a lot of flippers had gotten into this one. Smooth Yeti Mountain Club, they're still dropping their snowmobile on the 1st. I do think that these would run up a lot more if it weren't for all these new projects coming out that just had a tremendous amount of hype and a tremendous amount of people buying them. There really is just a crazy amount of money going into new projects rather than going into already established projects. I have bought a couple more of these this week from about 350 to 370 range, and I am still expecting once we get closer to May 1st and once we know more about the utilities of these snowmobiles that these could continue to run up. I do like this project though as a long-term investment as well. I think Keeper and their marketing team is doing an incredible job, and I definitely think this is going to be a blue chip in the future. Next thing here, Cornucopias Javelins and Jets. I like these Javelins and Jets. I haven't been selling any of them. They are going to be doing some sort of release within the next 2 weeks that isn't going to be the land, and I think the land has been slightly pushed back. I'm still holding these, and I'm still waiting on the genuine confirmation that these are going to be whitelist. I think once they release all the different videos and all the different content about the land and really build up the hype with that, and then if they confirm that these are going to be whitelist, because in their article they were saying that they had whitelist access to different drops, then I think these could continue to run up, and that's why I haven't sold any. Another project that's been on my radar recently is Knfty World. These nifty creatures not only look great, but the community has been developing very strongly, and I believe every time they get about 12,000 ADA worth of royalties, they've been distributing that to all of the people that are holding these nifty creatures. So I like that. I like that passive income aspect, and somehow they found a way to really reduce the amount of fees to do this. I don't know if they're running their own node or the tech side behind it, but I am impressed with this project. I don't own any right now. I had owned one that I had sold at like 100. I bought it for 60, sold it at 100, but I am paying more attention to this project now. This definitely has a lot of potential, and it's one of the few projects that are already established that have been going up consistently when we're in a flipping market right now. So that's something that is impressive to me, and that's why it's on my radar as well. TeddyTropper has been exploding this month, went from about 100 ADA all the way to 170 ADA. These do look really cool, and they do look really unique. I'm not necessarily sure why these have been going up so much, but this is definitely a project on my radar as well, just because I really like the way they look, and I do think the community that's developing around them is strong. Mandrillz is the next project. And I'm just going rapid fire here, guys. This is crazy. My brain is... But Mandrillz is another project that I bought some this week. They're going for about 112 ADA. When I had first shouted them out on the channel, they were between like 60 and 80. I had bought a lot at that price. And then when they announced that they were going to announce the roadmap, these ran all the way to 150. So I was able to get a clean double up during that time. And I sold all my Mandrillz but 6. I think I ended up profiting around like 2,000 ADA just through that one swing trade, because I had bought bought a decent amount. These now have dropped all the way down to 100 ADA, and in this past week, I did buy a lot more around that 120 to 130 ADA range. I really should have waited to see if it dropped back down to 100. Now, this is a project that's in its boring phase, but the only reason that I bought a decent amount of this project is I think that Chilled Kongs and Ape Society are the two biggest ape projects on the Cardano ecosystem, and since they're already so high in price, so high in prospectively, that I think people are going to get priced out and they're going to want to get into the next largest ape project, and Mandrillz is that next highest ape project. I also like their marketing and their design and their community, and I do think that these could do good in a long-term investment, but this is one of those things, guys, that if you're buying this, you're probably going to have to hold it for months. Don't buy this and expect to be able to sell it in like 2 weeks or something like that. You're definitely going to want to hold this for a while, because all these different catalyst events that they have in their roadmap are going to take a while to basically have fruition, right? But yeah, a project that I believe in, and might not be a bad time to get it as a long term. Don't expect to make a lot of money very quickly with these. ThoseAMAs have been going up a lot recently as well. They actually just had a whole entire Twitter space where they were talking about all of the different utilities that they're going to have with this project. So they have like a ton of different businesses and a ton of different digital real estate. And their whole goal with this project, guys, is to make a bunch of money from all of those different investments. I believe they even have a weed farm, according to one of my Discord members that told me about this project. And essentially, they're going to distribute a lot of those profits to people that hold these. So definitely look at their Twitter space. I haven't had a chance to listen to the entire recording, but supposedly these have a ton of potential. Prosperia multi-pass. Now, I've been talking about Prosperia a decent amount, and they're actually having a vehicle drop called their Zeppers on May 1st. If you have these multi-passes, you're actually able to get it before that, I believe in the next couple of days, but the snapshot is already over, so these won't really do you any good. Definitely keep an eye on this project though, guys. I've been talking about it a decent amount, and I talked to their owner a decent amount, and I do think these have a ton of potential. These multi-passes only dropped for like 48 or something like that a month ago. It was in one of my upcoming CNFT mint videos, and unfortunately I wasn't able to mint one, but the owner literally was a G, and he hooked me up with one of these epic passes, and I'm definitely holding that for the long term. I do believe that they're going to execute a lot with this project, and it's worth keeping your eye on. I don't know if these multi-passes are the best buy out of everything they're going to release, but I do know these are going to be whitelist access to a lot of things, and I do think those Zeppers are going to do pretty well if you want to try to get in the public on May 1st. Next thing here, Derp Birds. These Derp Birds have gone on a little bit of a run. They're finally announcing the date soon of their next release, and these Derp Birds have a potential of being a whitelist or give you some sort of advantage in that. So I would keep an eye on this project and look on their Discord for their announcements and see when that drop is going to happen, because that's going to bring a lot more eyes to this project. And 100 ADA is going to be hard to get past. I mean, look how many are listed around this 105 mark, guys. So don't expect this to go crazy unless that new release they're doing has a lot of potential. Another thing I want to bring up here is the Spaceturions. And I wasn't going to talk about Yumi today, but another thing I wanted to talk about were the Spaceturion cards by Outer Space Society. They're actually having another drop to give their remainder like 600 of these relatively soon. There's going to be different ways to get on the whitelist, and I would pay attention to that. This is going to be a whitelist to their drop sometime next month of their aliens, and then on top of that, they're trying to get like different partnerships and collabs where they can give whitelist to future drops. So definitely something to keep your eye on. I don't own any of these, but I have been keeping my eye on this project, and I'll see if I can get one of these cards in their drop upcoming this week. As far as what I've done this week, guys, I haven't been selling any of my Javelins or my Jets, and I haven't bought new ones. I still have all of these ADA Invadaz that I had bought. I had 13 originally, and I sold one of them, so I still have 12 of these ADA Invadaz, and I'm just holding them for now. I bought a decent amount of Mandrillz. All of these Mandrillz I bought this week, so 3, 7, 11, 15, 16. I bought 16 Mandrillz this week. That's my Prosperia pass. And this was the big mistake that I just made literally yesterday. I bought like 15 false idols at like 200 ADA each, and now they're at like 80 ADA, so that was a pretty big L. And I wanted to talk about, and I also sold a couple chilled Kongs. But basically, guys, I want to talk about this a little bit. Essentially, guys, I messed up. I made a mistake. I broke my cardinal rule. I bought in P1 when right after the mint it was going crazy, and I bought thinking that the ceiling was up here, but really the ceiling was here when it comes to how high it was going going to go, right? Like I bought here thinking it was going to go higher, but really this 200 ADA was already the peak. And that's why I tell people to never buy in P1, even if you're trying to be a long-term holder, because we just have no idea where it's going to go. You're much safer waiting for things to come down, for profit taking to happen, for us to go on a wiggle waggle, and then for us to flatline, and then that's when you get in. And right now, I would wait at least 2 weeks after a project is minted to see if the hype and if the FOMO and if the price maintains, because I think a lot of these new projects are probably going to go down significantly over the next coming weeks, especially when hype dies down on them. So realize, guys, that yes, it could have gone from 200 to 400 and I could have made money there, but that was just so risky. I don't know what I was thinking. I was breaking my rule. And because of that, your boy took a 2000 ADA L, and it's a slap on the wrist. But there's 2 different learning lessons that come from this. One, guys, like I just said, never buy in P1. If you go for a mint right now and you weren't able to get in the mint, you weren't fast enough, what you do is you wait for the next mint and you go for the next opportunity and you put your ADA there and you flip the project there. That is the market we're in, guys. That is not the time right now to try to buy in right when it goes on the secondary and hope it keeps going up, because most of the time it is not, and you are going to take an L, and you would have been able to get in at a much better price. So that's just like lesson 1. Wait it out. Get better at minting. Basically scale up your minting. If you take an L, learn what you can do to be faster, go for the next drop, make some money off of that, put that money into the next one. That's the whole flipping thing. And then if you want a long-term investment, maybe wait a couple weeks, see how they do, wait for prices to bottom out, and then that's when you buy in for a long-term investment. The second thing that I want to bring up here, guys, is that there are always going to be Ls. Even though recently, not to, suck myself off or something, there have been some good plays with Chilled Cogs and Ape Society and Yeti soon and the Javelins. Like, I've been on a little bit of a roll here, but just realize that even me, even a lot of people out there, we're going to be wrong from time to time, right? And we're going to take L's. But the key is we're limiting our losses by getting in at the right time, and we're limiting our losses by not FOMOing into stuff like a crazy idiot like I was literally yesterday. I'm literally kicking myself. I need to rewatch all my own videos. But realize, guys, we are going to take L's sometimes, but our dubs should outweigh those L's. If you are picky and if you find the right projects and if you scale up and if you go hard on the right things, it makes up for all of it. These ADA Invadaz, I literally got all of them around 200 ADA, and now they're around 600 to 700 ADA, not even a week later. So I don't know how much money that is, maybe 4 or 5 grand that I made just in the past week off of one project. So we need to keep our eyes out for these big opportunities like Overexposed. I didn't even cover Overexposed, but Overexposed is one of those opportunities where I think these are going to go for at least 500, potentially 1,000 ADA off rip. So if you won that one raffle, if you won multiple raffles, you literally made a little bag right off the rip, especially if you just got a floor piece, right? So realize, guys, it's okay to take L's. Figure out what you did wrong, learn from it, and realize that's always going to happen. But the key is to limit how bad those L's are. You don't do what I just did, okay? And another point that I want to bring up here is that your dubs, well, kind of the same point, but your dubs are going to far outweigh your L's. When I look at my spreadsheet of all the different things that I bought and sold in this year so far and all the different wallets I have, I'm up a pretty significant amount. Like, I'm up about 3x right now since this year started, and I have taken some pretty significant L's on a decent amount of projects. Like, I think I'm down right now 30% on Pavia. There's been some other projects that I'm down like 50, 60% on. These board corrupted chips, since they messed up the lab, I'm down like $800, $900 on. Like, there's going to be L's, but it only takes a couple really good ones to make a lot of money. So if you don't have a lot of money, wait for those good ones. Wait for those opportunities. You don't have to go for every single opportunity. You can wait until you're super, super confident, because the truth of the matter is, guys, is if you don't have a lot of ADA, you don't have a lot of mistakes you can make. But once you have more ADA, now you can take more risk like I am. Hey, I'm going to take a risk on false idols, even though that was an idiotic decision, but I can take the risk because 2,000 ADA, I can eat that, right? But if I only had 2,000 ADA, I can't eat that, right? So just realize that you have to be picky the less money you have, but as you start to scale up, you can get a little bit more risky, but you have to do the risk in the right way, in a calculated way, in a non-emotional way, and in a way that just makes sense when it comes to these different market cycles. Yeah, that's pretty much what I wanted to bring up here today, guys. I hope you enjoyed this week. Oh, and the last thing I wanted to bring up is that I know some people are watching one of my wallets that I do a lot of the trades on. Please, guys, do not necessarily follow that wallet's transactions, because when I'm buying stuff, I have different reasonings for buying stuff. And some of this stuff I get into, like these false idols, was not a play that I would recommend the average person. So just because I'm buying something on one of my wallets does not mean you should buy it. I have some sort of thought process going on with that, and there are different risk levels with that. So don't just follow those plays because you have no idea why I made those plays. And that's why it's better to wait until a market update video where I tell you guys some of the things that I purchased and some of the things that I looked at, because then at least you can make your own educated decision and see why I potentially, bought or sold something. But yeah, that pretty much sums it up. I hope everyone here has an awesome day. I hope that you guys can learn from my mistake here, and just remember to keep on grinding, keep on doing a good job. Like, things are going so well right now. I'm hyped up. I'm excited for everything that's been happening. There's so much going on in this space, and it's really just an incredible amount of fun being in here and making different videos. Like, so much of my time recently has gone into making these videos and buying and selling these different projects, and it's just such a fun way of living life. Like, I've started to scale back some of the other stuff I do just because I find this so much more fun and so much more profitable in a way. So I hope other people that are watching this episode and just in this space are enjoying their time as well. Remember, guys, to not take life too seriously. Like, we're having fun with this. We're having a good time. We're figuring things out. We're all on this journey together, wherever you are in the world, whatever your story is, wherever your perspective is, and we're all in this together with our different strategies, just trying to figure out how to better ourselves and, hopefully our financial situations. But yeah, hope you guys have an awesome day.